Hello, y'all. This is Kev, and this is BMBBH here to edutain you folks once again on a Monday, which means that if you're up late watching this program, you are a special kind of person. But if you're not, I know you're in the replay gang, and I do understand because it is Monday. It is beginning of the week for most of you in working class America, and you know what? You should be celebrated for, just the effort of having the motivation to get up and navigate in this stinky little community. So, I get it. So yeah, there is congratulations in that. But just 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 won't be very long tonight. Just to say that I'm gonna use this particular program to say that we should have been better armed for what goes on in the court of public opinion and social media, of course, because it's become such a big thing nowadays. It's bigger than I would say it actually has been. It's bigger than it was 10, 12 years ago. And this is what I'm going to discuss with you tonight, an article that was sent to me by one of my subs, I would say, and the subs are important. Yeah, subscribers are important because subscribers is what keeps your channel going, and I really appreciate my subscribers, especially the ones that gave me the super thanks in my comment section after last night's um, last night's broadcast, which was a smoke show. So let me see if I can find this real quick and see if I can go ahead and recognize those people real quick. Yeah, I also didn't call out a yeah, I was watching last night. Sometimes you gotta watch yourself in action. And I forgot to give BGS Ibmore thanks for his super chat. So let me see if I can pull these up real quick. Um all right. But anyway, hope you guys are having a fantastic week. And for those of you, if it's your first time here, please go below this screen and hit the subscribe button. You won't regret it. So let me go ahead and share this. Like I said, so I could recognize the super thanks from last night. Um, First of all, good looking out. This is not a grift to me. This is something that I actually like to do. So when you guys do things like super thanks, especially when I'm off the air, I really appreciate it. Shout out to D Scott. He said I passed the hell out last night. I missed the smoke. Well, that's why we got the replays. Let me go ahead and yeah, and then Yippee Kaye 86 also hit me with a super thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that as well. Real good shit that you guys are on to help a brother out, even after after I go off the air. And yeah, but those options are there for you. Cash App is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Super Chat is open if you want to support the channel and see this kind of media continue. You can feel very free to. So anyway, also have this broadcast going on my backup channel for those who are on there. Yeah, just in case, like that channel is there just in case something happened to this channel. But yeah, just cool shit all the way around. I really appreciate it. Okay, and yeah, I'm pretty interactive here, so anyone who decides they want to make a comment, you can go right ahead. But yeah, just thank you all of you for the continued growth of this particular YouTube channel and to watch my so-called quote unquote struggle streams. Y'all make a brother feel good. So let's get into this topic. I ran across this article, and this article is pretty old. I would say it's probably 12 or 13 years old. And I said something earlier, said something probably maybe a couple nights ago about how we should how we should arm ourselves with the information that is available to us, because it is tons more available uh, information to us now than it was for our parents, even for us growing up in many cases, especially us Gen Xers. So, so we have a legion of black men, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, because freedom of speech is a great thing, and is what part of what make this country what it is, to you know be able to say whatever you want and get your not get your head blown off immediately. But of course, those are freedoms that we had to earn throughout the decades. Not saying that we're all the way free, not saying that, just saying that there are some beautiful nuances about being able to live here. And I haven't forgotten about the struggles that go on with us as blacks from day to day. When I'm saying this, what I'm saying is we have it much easier than our parents and our grandparents did. So my thing is about this is, we made so many strides, then why do we give up so easily in many cases? And that's what I'm here to kind of talk about tonight. So um let me look at the chat. Oh, we got hybrid catastrophic impact X83rd power first commenter tonight. He said, "We are back. We are packed back. So much the kids are exposed to in these modern times." Yeah, but yeah, but those of us with children, we have to understand this. And if we, especially if you choose to be a parent, you always want to point the kid in the right direction. It ain't it yeah, times have gotten easier, but have bred weaker people. Yeah, because people can hide behind feelings and excuses, and you are more so than less given the chance not to be able to excel at something. And use society and feelings as an excuse. So but we here are we here on this channel is to do something that we don't find very often on platforms, except for, I would say, in the case of the manosphere, the black manosphere, is that we want to arm black men mentally. That's what we want to do. So let me go ahead and share the screen real quick. Yeah, is found this article. Well, I didn't find the article. Like I said, it was sent to me by a sub. And I found the article very interesting. Um, and keep in mind, with everything that we discuss in these spaces, especially the Black Manosphere, this article right here was written maybe 12, 13 years ago. Yeah, there was what was called Manosphere 1.0 back then, but that was in a very raw um genesis state. It had yet to evolve into what it became today. And what I kind of hear is I've heard this statement right here said in the past weekend. I've heard it in the past quite often, that the male spaces like the manosphere is just feminism for men. And I've seen that kind of thing before, and I don't believe that it's feminism for men, because feminism for men obviously produces male feminists like I would say Steve Harvey. And this article right here came from, it seems it has a look of extremism, but it really isn't. It's just what this article intended to do is to mentally and emotionally arm males to the shaming tactics that we might get exposed to when we're in these spaces, when we're having certain discussions. And a lot of that is why people believe that it's a bad idea to have, women in this space because they use this type of language that is expressed in this article right here. And I would say for some of the part that a lot of men have done pretty good against this kind of thing, but there are some of us that do get pretty riled up when we face these same things. So, well, getting back to the info bit, um, we are privy to so much information. We should have been ready for things such as this. So, when it's brand new to somebody, when somebody begins to open their eyes, uh, it's something that should be handled with, and I hate to use a word like this, some form of delicacy, because delicate is something that is the antithesis to masculinity and manhood. Nothing we're supposed to do is delicate, but we're dealing with some extremist mindsets nowadays. And what we don't want to do is set young men on a path to becoming dangerous to society based on resentments and little things they may see that they don't quite know how to deal with or identify. So I'm just here to show you this article to let you know that the information was always there for us. And for those of us who are more aware, I would say, than others are, we should prepare males who have not yet become aware for the shock of awareness. If you understand the direction I'm going in, which hopefully you do. But yeah, whoever wrote this article was a person that was ahead of the times, because a lot of the things that they say in this article is exactly the kind of propaganda that we try to combat here in these male spaces. And we catch a lot of flack for it. And this article is about the flack. And what I'm saying to men, black men who listen to this program, is we should be more mentally prepared. But for those of us who's behind, that's what, content creators like myself are here for, to help you kind of catch up. So the whole point, I would say, is not to hate women. I would say it never was. It's like, if you've ever been in a conversation and the disagreement becomes so much that for a person that they decide to say some bullshit like you hate women, or you um or you must hate yourself, or hate your mom. This article right here pretty much touches on all of it. Like I said, it was ahead of its time, and this should have been an article that should have been, you should be required to read an article like this before you become a content creator. That way, when you encounter things like this, like shaming tactics, you should be ready. You should have your mind frame to the point where you can deal with it a little bit better emotionally, because I mean, the whole thing about shaming tactics is to get you riled up and to get you off your game. And a lot of us men that are in these spaces, we fall for that shit, and it's not a good look. See, I'll support any of my brothers, but it's like, when you're getting out of control, it's not a good look. Um, there have been times that I wanted to, you know, cross over from Wi-Fi into the real world and pull up on somebody and, beat the shit out of them. But at the same time, what good does that do any of us at the end of the day? It might give us some short-term gratification, but if, like I said, if we just arm ourselves better mentally, we don't have to come to those kinds of points where we're out of control. And really, that is the basis for trolling, like trolling anyway, to see if you will lose control against a lesser minded competitor that's for some reason can get the best of you in that moment. So, like I said, I don't want to see black men get made fools of. I mean, as much as the society is trying, especially our own people, literally trying to shame us into silence and make us into the biggest idiots, the biggest antagonists, the biggest bad guys ever. And I don't mind being an antagonist, but not for an unjust reason. Let's see if this article right here that was written, like I said, over a decade ago, can offer up more clarity to what we deal with as far as these social media spaces. So everybody, as you walk in, please hit that like button. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know, the content is good here. Some people have said it's great, but you know, that's totally up to you. I understand that I can't win everyone, but I'm winning enough people. So yeah. So this is called the catalog of anti-male shaming tactics. So some people wonder why I'm so calm and you know that I might be a more easygoing guy. And the reason for that is there's really no point to just yelling and screaming and cursing because a lot of you maybe don't understand that that's the point that they're trying to get you to because they're too stupid to come to a good resolution in the conversation. So they'll throw out insults and you know start making all these glaring accusations and uh I mean, it's gotten so basic with them to the point to where I feel as if a lot of black men just aren't prepared. You know, they didn't know about things like this. Like, you know, a lot of black men have been lied to by their parents and senior males in their families and senior females. When I say senior, I mean like the adults, the people who are leading the family, the matriarch and the patriarch parts of the family and you know it's not always a perfect model. I mean you may get in it a lot of this one good thing but you'll get some bad that goes along with it but it's never a perfect situation but hey, that's why we got spaces like these. So it's called the catalog of anti-male shaming tactics, which you know in some form or another the content creators have made their own versions of these kinds of lists and excuse me these kinds of top fives and everything and okay let me read the first paragraph and yeah I don't know what to call this an editorial or a blog but yeah this has some very men centric subjects in it and like all things it fell kind of to the wayside. It got kind of lost in the whole internet shuffle. So yeah, it has such articles like families against confiscatory child support, marriage and migration, online dating rights. Wow, brutal divorce tactics, dads against the divorce industry, divorce aid, divorce coaches for dads, Illinois men's rights, divorce lawyer. You know, stuff like that. So let me read the first article. I mean, this kind of thing should be all too familiar to us anyway. It says shaming tactics in quotes. The phrase is familiar to many men's rights activists. It conjures up the histrionic behavior of female detractors who refuse to argue their points with logic. Yet women are not the only ones guilty of using shaming tactics against men. Male gynocentrists use them too. Male gynocentrists, usually call guys like that gynocrats. I've been called gynocrat a couple times. I don't fucking know why. I mean, I got a pretty good idea, but you know, I'm throwing that shit to the wayside because it simply isn't true. But I've seen the male gynocentrist, aka gynocrat, before, and they operate on a logic that is very female like, if I should say so myself. More of a feelings operated type of thought process that, sometimes they'll bring up some historical facts, but twist it up in such a way to just make men the villain and females the perfect little angels that they try to present, which that should be you should that's how you spot a grifter, somebody that just panders to you completely instead of saying, "Hey, you know what? Some of this shit is fucked up." But okay, let me go on to read. Shaming tactics are emotional devices meant to play on a man's insecurities and shut down debate. Yep, shut down debate because most idiots don't like to debate. There are some people that don't debate because they rather just not go through the trouble of getting in some type of argument or some type of bullshit exchange that leads to an unnecessary beef. Because and really it's because people want to seem like they're the smartest person in the room, or they feel as if the subject matter being discussed hits home for them, so they try to do all this crap. So okay, let me continue. They are meant to elicit sympathy for women and to demonize men who ask hard questions. Most, if not all, shaming tactics are basically ad hominem attacks. Yeah, when they attack you ad hominem, you automatically win. That's just that's an unwritten rule. Not everyone follows everyone's unwritten rules though. Um, yeah, but I mean, how often have you seen this? Shaming tactics are emotional devices meant to play on a man's insecurities and shut down debate. They are meant to elicit sympathy for women and to demonize men who ask hard questions. That sounds like feminism. Most of all, if not all, shaming tactics are basically ad hominem attacks anyway. It might be helpful to categorize the major shaming tactics that are used against men whenever a discussion arises about feminism, men's issues, romance, etc. It sounds like the meat of the content: feminism, men's issues, and romance. The current pool of content that we all pull from. Because the relationship conversation, like it or not, is the most popular conversation. And I'm sure many of you out there would have it another way. But there's a time and a place for everything. So it goes on to say the following list contains descriptions of shaming tactics. Some examples are quotes, employing the tactics, and even color coded aliases for mnemonic purposes. Enjoy. Change of irascibility, cold red. Discussion. The target is accused of having anger management issues. Whatever negative emotions he has to assume to be unjustifiable. Examples. Oh, look, you're bitter. Okay, how many times that you've heard that? Say, trying to discuss anything factual that somebody might agree with, you're bitter. Um, you're bitter. And I often say this about miserable women that spend all their time on social media complaining about men. They're very bitter because something didn't turn out great in their lives, and men can be bitter too. I mean, I ran into a couple of bitter weirdos myself, but bitterness is never good. I mean, it's never gonna get you what you want ultimately. Is a waste of emotion. But to be called that after spitting out facts is kind of stupid, and that's the kind of thing that should be called out. You need to get over your anger at women. You are so negative. You need to get over your anger at women. Yeah, you always hear get over it. It's like just because you disagree with someone who just happens to have a vagina smack between their legs does not mean that you have anger toward women. This just it. I mean, and as basic as this seems, this shit is prevalent today. Response. And they teach you the response. Anger is a legitimate emotion in the face of injustice. It is important to remember that passive acceptance of evil is not a virtue. Okay, passive acceptance of evil is not a virtue. That sounds like simping to me. Sounds like simping. And anger is a legitimate emotion in the face of injustice. Like, I get so tired of people, in a conversation when they start to insult you, when you respond to their insult, they're always like, Oh, why you mad? Oh, you so mad? Ooh, they mad. It's so funny. He mad. Like they always accusing you of being mad because they can't get through a fucking discussion. Who's infamous for doing this shit? Pro blacks. Charge of cowardice. Code yellow. Discussion. The target is accused of having an unjustifiable fear of interaction with women. Examples. You need to get over your fear. Uh, During the smoke show last night, we had a panelist accusing the other guys on the panel, maybe, I don't know, 50, 1100 times of being afraid of women. I mean, go to last night broadcast called the smoke show. Step up and take your chance like a man. It's like I've heard that in a couple forms. You're afraid of a strong woman. That's a mainstream media shaming tactic. Ain't nobody afraid of no women. Not, I mean, some guys are, but most aren't. Response. It is important to remember that there is a difference between bravery and stupidity. The only risk that reasonable people dare to take are calculated risk. One weighs the likely cost and benefits of said risk. As it is, some men are finding out that many women fail a cost benefit analysis. Charge of hypersensitivity. Look, I'm gonna let's go ahead and be brutally honest. Hypersensitivity is a quality that many of us do share in the black community. I wouldn't say we were the most sensitive group of people. There are a couple that are fighting. There are a couple of groups that are fighting for that top position. But the thing is, with our hypersensitivity as blacks is we'll say whatever the fuck we want to say, and expect no consequence when it comes to another black person. When we get that consequence, we start accusing them of being sensitive, but in turn, that's being sensitive within itself. So you see the mental conundrum here. So it says charge of hypersensitivity, the crybaby charge. How many times do you hear per week that the manosphere is always crying about women? All they do is cry. Cry all day, cry, cry, cry. Some of the quotes in this like little subcategory: stop whining, get over it, suck it up like a man. A lot of you here stop whining a lot. All y'all do is whine about women. You guys don't have it nearly as bad as us women. That's some shit that they say more in the divester space. Women that swear up and down they scared of black men but keep poking fun at black men. Like, I don't get it. If you're so afraid, why do you keep barking at us? I would I don't that's that well, it doesn't make logical sense because like why are you barking at somebody, when you're supposed to be all afraid of them? That's how you know it's bullshit. You're just afraid of using your male privileges. Your fragile male ego. Yeah, they say that a lot. Wow, you guys need to get a grip. Okay, when you say something real stupid and shitty, and then the person, like I said, responds in kind, all of a sudden it's calm down, lighten up. We just kind of joking over here. Now, what you need, what needs to happen is you need to expect everyone to be an adult. Treat everyone like adults. You hear this thing about, treat women like they have the logic of children. Don't do that shit. This is what's this is what's wrong with a lot of motherfuckers right now. So, hold on one second. Then it went to, I'll continue in just a moment. Let me. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Response. One who uses a cold blue shaming tactics reveals a callous indifference to the humanity of men. It may be constructive to confront such an accuser and ask if a certain problem men face needs to be addressed or not. Yes or no, however small it may seem to be. If the accuser answers in the negative, it may be constructive to ask why any man should care about the accuser's welfare, since the favor will obviously not be returned. I've said that. Fuck people. If they don't like it, fuck them. If you don't see the obvious good result that can come from making sense, then fuck you. Be on the train track. If the accuser claims to be unable to do anything about the said problem, one can ask the accuser why an attack is necessary against those who are doing something about it. That was an interesting statement. Why attack the people that want to do something about it? I used to have this discussion with people. Why are you so mad with me for mentioning something that is fucked up instead of being mad with the people who are actually doing the fucked up shit? I'm not here to look good for anyone. I'm here to state the facts. It's like that's that most ninjas can't get through a conversation with even that basic shit. But for those of us who are critical thinkers, we have the chance to make others who aren't so aware. Change of puerility, the Peter Pan charge. Yep, the target is accused of being immature and or irresponsible in some manner that reflects badly on his status as an adult male. Grow up. You are so immature. Do you live with your mother? Okay, yeah, that is very valid. How many times you say, "Oh, you doing podcasts for your mom's basement?" you know, I'm not interested in boys. I'm interested in real men. How many of you guys in high school heard a a a, a girl in your class say that, and then have some guy that's 24, 25 pick her up during lunch in her new in his new car? I mean, shit. Not to say that's right, just to say the reality of things. Men are shirking their God given responsibility to marry and bear children. Oh, man. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like there's a lot of guys whose eyes are open and they're just not taking it anymore. I'm sorry. The response: it should be remembered that one's sexual history, marital status, parental status, etc., are not reliable indicators of maturity and accountability. If they were, then we would not hear of white collar crime, divorce, teen sex, unplanned pregnancies, extramarital affairs, etc. Hmm. Yeah, just remember that one. Charge of endangerment, code orange, the elevated threat charge. Yeah, how many times you've heard this? Whenever I heard somebody try to use this on Green Gorilla, you guys are scary. I mean, Green Gorilla, he's pretty passionate about his content, and one of those, so-called wannabe feminists. She sounded like she was 50 plus. I mean, tried that shit, and it's like, oh my god, I really feel bad for you. You should just go get some help. All this other shit. You make me feel afraid. I mean, on Wi-Fi, that's impossible. I mean, they'll say that, oh, these men speaking like this make me afraid to go outside. No, that's cap. That's cap. You really are upset with someone that speaks a certain way just because it's not kissing your ass. Now, for the off chance that a weirdo, you might actually encounter weirdo or one of these crazy guys, then yeah, the feeling is justified. But as far as online conversations, stop the cap. It may be constructive to point out that only bigots and tyrants are afraid of having the truth expressed to them. One may also ask why some women think they can handle leadership roles if they are so threatened by a man's legitimate freedom of expression. Yeah, that's a great point. Remember, this article was written over 10 years ago. Charge of rationalization, the sour grapes charge. You're just bitter because you can't get laid. Okay, let me put it in today's language. You're just mad because you can't get no pussy. How many times have you heard that? Because you do a podcast, you're upset with women because women won't give you the time of day. In this case, it must be asked if it really matters how one arrives at the truth. Yeah, absolutely. Facts are facts. I mean, you do have this thing called credibility, which is important. But if it's a fact being dished out, why argue with that? And no one argues facts better than us, but we still lose because you can't argue against a fact. In this case, yeah, like I said, in other words, one may submit to the accuser. What if the grapes really are sour? At any rate, the cold purple shaming tactic is an example of what is called circumstantial ad hominem. This person who wrote this is, I think they're trying to sound a little bit philosophical and throw in and throw in some psychological rhetoric with some what they feel, I would say. But these kinds of things can come from experience as well. Feel free to agree or disagree. Do you think that this article hits the nail on the head? I mean, I would say for the most part, yes, because I've seen all of it. I've seen all of it. These are usual go tos. And they have fine tuned this, and they've twisted it up to the point where they have become silencing techniques, and people coming up with all kinds of acronyms that rhyme and all this other stuff. Is 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 something that I would say that really at the end of the day, a man that is on his purpose should not waste his time with. But a man on his purpose can kind of sidestep things and have these conversations when he wants, as a guilty pleasure, I would say. Or, don't accuse everybody of being dumb and low vibrational, just searching for some answers. Discussion. The target of being is accused of subscribing to an intolerant extremist ideology or of being devoted to an ignorant viewpoint. Examples: you're one of those white wing rackos. You're an extremist. You sound like the KKK. More anti feminist zaniness. Nah, I don't hear the last one. But, you know, um, I've dealt with being called a coon for, expressing some of the views that I have expressed. I mean, it's nothing to me like being called a COON just because you don't like a white man. I'm not too fond of our president Joe Biden. Whenever a black person says, "Hey, you know what? I'm not really with the Democrats. I don't like our current president. Vice president ain't shit. Blah blah blah." What's the first thing? What's the first thing a person to throw up? You must be for Trump. I mean, Trump could be the furthest thing from your mind. You just focusing on what your disdain is with the Democratic Party. First thing they throw up, you must be for Trump, or get called a CON just because you don't like a white man who has proven racism in the past. Yeah, yeah, we're subscribing, and a lot of the charge as of late, as far as the Black Manosphere goes, is we're subscribing to the rhetoric of a white woman. She's our leader. You are anything but a black man to these folks. Response: one should remember that the truth is not decided by the number of people subscribing to it. Whether or not certain ideas are out of mainstream is beside the point. The correct conclusion is also not necessarily reached by embracing some middle ground between two opposing viewpoints, i.e., the logical fallacy of false compromise. All right. Oh yeah, this one right here. Yeah, this one right here is an overused one. Charge of invirility. The target, I ain't saying all these colors and shit, whatever. The target, I understand the theme of the article, but it's whatever. The target's sexual orientation or masculinity is called into question. Examples: Are you gay? I need a real man, not a sissy. You're such a wimp. How many times as a black man on social media you run into that one ridiculous fucking mind that you're exchanging thoughts with, and the first thing they want to say is you're gay. You must be gay. Like how? This like the two reasons. Number one is like black folk have the worst type of logical reasoning when it comes to this. Everything isn't gay. I know sometimes people use that to troll. But the second thing is like whenever someone, especially an LGBT black person starts spouting off about homophobia, the way to shut them up real quick is, why are you not concerned that your sexuality is being weaponized to attack straight black men? Yeah, they'll be like a deer in the headlights then. And I think KS said something about that. And the first thing people started to say is he asked the alphabet community for help. Like, it's just like we talk about this accountability thing, how horrible it is for B dubs, but it really is horrible across the board. Not to say that it's not really horrible with B dubs, but still, it's like it's like if you're going to champion a cause one place, but then do the antithesis of it in another place, then you're a fucking hypocrite. And for the record, I don't expect any help from the alphabet community at all on anything. It's just that, hold them accountable. Why do you allow people to weaponize your sexuality? I don't care how many dudes picked on you when you was growing up. Say the same thing they say to you. You need to get over your anger. You need to get over what happened in high school and elementary school. Tell them that shit. Charge of overgeneralization. I think this is something that a lot of people do have a problem with. But the target is accused of making generalizations or supporting unwanted stereotypes about women. Examples: I'm not like that. Stop generalizing. That's a sexist stereotype. They say that in so many other ways. I'm not like that. You'll say something like, "Well, the majority of B dubs, they," or let me give an example since I mentioned KS. How they made fun of KS's death. Well, that isn't right, but everything before but is bullshit. All of us are not like that. Stop generalizing us. Like, the people who say that, I'm like, why are you defending it? Response: One may point out that feminists and many other women can make generalizations about men. Yeah, black men are broke. Black men are lazy. Black men don't build anything. Yeah, those are stereotypes. Quotation from feminists, for example, can be easily obtained to prove this point. Also, one should note that pointing to a trend is not the same as overgeneralizing. Although not all women may have a certain characteristic, a significant amount of them might. Charge of misogyny. Cold black. The target is accused of displaying some form of unwarranted malice to a particular woman or to women in general. Examples: You misogynist creep. Why do you hate women? Yeah, yeah. You hear the "you hate women" pretty quicker than misogynist. I've heard both. Do you love your mother? You're accused of hating your mom. Let me tell you something about you know these women that feel like just because you came from a black woman that you should have respect for. I mean, basic human respect, yes, but when you start crossing little lines, you ain't my damn mother. I'll just say it like this: There's only one person on this planet who is my mother. You're so insensitive to the plight of women. Well, maybe if you weren't such bitches. I mean, I get it. It's a difficult world out there for women. It really is. But like most of these motherfuckers who use this old victimhood, like, those motherfuckers are the bored ones. If you feel safe enough to, nah, let me stop. You are mean spirited. You view women as doormats. You want to roll back the rights of women. You are going to make me cry. Okay. None of that is going on. Response. One may ask the accuser, how does a pro male agenda become inherently anti female? Yeah, I used to ask a similar question. When I created that Facebook group, Black Men Being Brutally Honest with Everyone, everybody started to automatically assume that it was a group to be made against black women. It wasn't even an assumption, it was something that was thrown out there. Because a lot of people came to that group, they came to the group with their trolling, they came to the group with a level of anti-blackness, but they wanted to turn around and say that the group was anti-black. It was it was made to hate women instead of doing what they said the group should have set out to do. I can't stand when people do that. They'll accuse you of doing something that they are doing and expect you to just be the fixer of everything. One may also ask the accuser, how do they account for women who agree with the target's viewpoints? The cold black shaming tactic often integrates the logical fallacies of argumentum ad misericordiam, of his argumentation based on pity for women, or argumentum in terrorem, arousing fear about what the target wants to do to women. Uh, I would probably say um, the fake B ones are pretty efficient when it comes to the argumentum in terrorem because they use those two words quite often, black femicide. And there are so many stats to debunk that crap, it's ridiculous. But because people don't want to be accountable for who they are, women don't want to be accountable for who they are, they throw that up to just, they throw this femicide thing up just to have an excuse to say, hey, maybe you're just a bitch. Maybe you're just a bitch. Maybe what you're doing is overblowing a lot of shit, and you're not making any much sense about it. But since this is what people want to believe, they can flourish with this, and it can become a kind of a dangerous thing if left too unchecked. And this is why spaces like this exist, because so much bullshit was left unchecked. Yeah, there's a lot. Like I okay, there's not that long because yeah, I got the link in the description, and you can check this out for yourself. I didn't write this. I mean, whoever wrote this put a lot of thought into it. So now let's continue. Charge of instability, the white padded room charge. Oh yeah, you're crazy, basically. Oh, weirdo. Yeah, yeah, you're a weirdo. If you're a black man that speaks out of turn, you're a weirdo. Heard that a lot. You need therapy. Yeah, we need therapy because we won't agree with their asses. You have issues. You're unstable. Yeah, this, I believe this article was written before the term gaslighting was coined, or not in wide circulation in the lexicon. Charge of selfishness. We have a male feminist that, like, saying that he got smoked for the black manosphere, that actually accuses the black manosphere of being selfish in not wanting to help baby mamas. But they go at this in the article another way. You're so materialistic. You are so greedy. It is a common charge hurled at men who do not want to be bothered with romantic pursuits, especially with this recent thing of men trying to shame. I mean, simps and male feminists trying to shame men into actually dating and trying to marry single mothers. Look, I would always tell a man who has his shit together to not destroy himself like that. But you can. But I've also said you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Response: it may be beneficial to turn the accusation back on the one pressing the charge. For instance, one may retort, "So you're saying I shouldn't spend my money on myself, but I should instead spend it on a woman like you, and you accuse me of being selfish? Just what were you planning to do for me anyway?" Shit. Yeah, we've all been on bad dates where, the level of expectation is a little bit too high for a person you've only known for 48 hours. But, what the fuck do I know? Charge of superficiality. The charge of superficiality usually hurled at men in regard to their mating preferences. Example: if you didn't go after bimbos, then how can you be so shallow and turn down a single mother? I just literally said that. How can you be so shallow and turn down a single mother? Now, do I believe that every man is going to turn down a single mother? No. It really depends on how she looks and what her attitude is. And this has been a consistent answer with me throughout my entire life. Would you marry this type? Would you marry that type woman? Would you be with this type woman? Would you be with that type woman? And my answer has always been consistent. Like, if I like the way she looks and she has the right attitude, that's always been consistently. If you didn't go after bimbos, yeah, what they'll say is if you experience a certain type of woman, like especially ratchets and like I'm trying to translate it into today's language. They'll tell you all the time that, you must be dealing with a certain kind. Now, this next bit is very important. Average looking women can be just as problematic in their behavior as beautiful, high maintenance women. Regarding the shallow Regarding the shallowness of women, popular media furnishes plenty of examples where petty demands are made of men by females. Those notorious laundry lists of things a man should not do for his girlfriend or wife. Yeah, excuse me. Especially when, they come at you with that a real man would bullshit. Charge of unattractiveness. Oh, yeah, that one too. And I tell you this, well, as long as you are a black man who speaks the truth, you will never be all that good looking to females. You will always be ugly. And especially you being a black man in today's social climate, they are hard pressed to say that shit. Trust me. Unless you are the biggest fucking simp. I mean, if you're a biggest fucking simp, you could look like a trash bag with legs and they won't call you ugly. But, look at the quotes they use. I bet you are fat and ugly. You can't get laid. Creep, loser. Have you thought about the problem being you? Now, that is one that I would say I mean, the last one may not be as far logically fetched as one would believe, because a lot of people don't think that the problem is them. Charge of defeatism. Yeah. The shame. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh God. Yeah. Just bear with me one moment. The pink whip. Charge of. Yeah. Wait a minute. I don't even think I went through the pink. The pink whip threat of withheld affection. The target is admonished that his viewpoints or behavior will cause women to reject him as a mate. No woman would marry you with that attitude. Creeps like you will never get laid. Yeah, you know. Yeah, just notice a lot of shaming involves a lot of dick policing. Okay. All right. Sorry about this. Kind of got a little lost. Let's see. Trying to get back to the place I was at. Oh, Jesus Christ. I always do this with a new laptop. Uh, Charge of defeatism. This shaming tactic is akin to the charge of irascibility and charge of cowardice in that the accuser attacks the target's negative or guarded attitude about a situation. However, the focus is not so much the target's anger or fear, but is on the target's supposed attitude of resignation. Example, stop being so negative. You are so cynical. If you refuse to have relationships with women, then you are admitting defeat. Come on, men are doers, not quitters. I mean, shit, just go where you're appreciated. Response: the charge of defeatism can be diffused by explaining that one is merely being realistic about a situation. Also, one one can point out that asking men to just accept their mistreatment at the hands of women and society is the real attitude that is defeatist. Oh, that's very important because we got plenty of people that do that shit. Like, you expect me to deal with this crap? Like, one statement I've heard that is similar to this is, you do you want all of us to go back to the plantation? That's basically what you're asking. You're asking us to go back to the plantation and to put up with this gynocratic bullshit. I think I think BGS said that last night during the smoke show. Is and I would never suggest that one should go back to the plantation. Yeah, that's the real defeatist mentality, is to go backwards, not to go forwards. And a lot of y'all expect us men to go backwards. So, okay, threats of withheld affection. Okay, yeah, the pink whip. No woman will marry you with that attitude. Like, let me tell y'all something. Because of like, and social media might be to blame for this. Everybody's starting to believe that marriage isn't a good idea, especially men, because men get a raw deal legally, and they don't see where there's any truth to bonding with somebody for life. I mean, for those of us lucky few, for those, yeah, they going off in these comments. So, like I said, I dropped the link in the chat so you can check out the article for yourself. But yeah, like I said, for us lucky few, I mean, you know, if I said myself, if I something happens with my marriage, is like I'm not jumping back in. Period. So this is basically the article right here. So I mean, it's not very much to it. This is some shit that we should already knew. This is some shit that we deal with in these spaces on a regular basis. And the reason why I went over it, and the primary reason is because this article is over a decade old. And we should have been privy to more information like this before, we decided to hop on these social media spaces and do anything. Therefore, a lot of the reactions would, I believe, would not have been as bad as they were when they when a person first have their, and let me put this in strong quotes, red pill moments, their red pill awakening or something like that. And they're starting to associate this with extremism. Oh, let me go back to the extremism part, because I sure did forget to mention one key point in um shit. Come on, stop. Sorry about this. This looks so goofy right now. Let's see. Charge of overless generalization. There it is. Charge of fanaticism. Yeah, they yeah, the when I said the manosphere was going to become a buzz term, that is in a way what they're trying to make it into is fanaticism. Um, they're trying to make it into an extremist viewpoint so it can get the attention of government agencies like the FBI, which one guy got arrested. They found out he had a YouTube channel. All of a sudden, they're trying to associate that crazy wacko motherfucker with the space, so to get you guys to shut up or to start simping. So, that's pretty much it for now. Let me read some of these comments, and um, just I just like to know what you think of the article. I felt as if it was a very interesting article, but it wasn't. It's not anything that I did not know already. is just interesting is that this information has just been out here that long. And the reason why I believe that um, this kind of information is not in widespread circulation is because that in the grand scheme of things, are you winning if you actually solve these little problems that we have as far as how we communicate? Um, you know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But at the end of the day, I will always implore every black man to become the best version of himself and to not let themselves get caught up in the catty nonsense. So let me go ahead and read these comments. Let me read these comments. Okay, we got RPM in the building. Got Phil Brad. So yeah. So let's see. Sign language, shame, insult, guilt need to be right. Yeah, I did a broadcast a minute ago called Sign Language versus SBE. And a lot of guys, for some reason, would rather go with SBE being a lot worse for women than shaming tactics is for guys. And I think that's just some shit that they try to pull to try to make themselves seem like they have this hard ass exterior or that's somehow being a man, not calling out the bullshit. So uh, let's see. We got Alonzo Hall, the All Star advisor. What is up, my brother? Charles Gilmore 3. What is going on? Hybrid said a real man would. They were saying the same shit when they discovered MGTOW. Yep. Shakanulu is correct. There are dudes that get women but still talk about female nature and hold them accountable. Let me tell you something, man. Ain't nothing like getting pussy that you've been truthful with. Boy, I tell you the truth. Uh, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. See, you're kind of getting it. You're kind of getting it. That's so hopeful. What's going on? Yeah. How do you account? How do you account for women who agree? I say they should be treated with the utmost. I've said that. Prime VA, the Prime VA 757. We have a lot of weak black men encouraging childless black men to date single moms. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird, and it, like I said, it's a form of dick police. Mister said just got here. What y'all lying about up in here tonight? Shit, what's going on? Good to see you, brother. LaShawn Jefferson. All women have the same feelings about any options got in 2023. It's a different world from what we grew up. Yes, there is. The article was on point. Yeah, the article was a forecast. It was a forecast over a decade ago. Yeah, it was a forecast. Just like when I did the Diary of a Tired Black Man broadcast and talked about how much of a forecast it was. Yeah, but this is but like I was saying, this is information that's been out here for a minute, and a lot of that was really based on experiences. So I mean, but when like I said, think about everything that has been said from that point where the article was written to right now, and tell me you can't stick a lot of the shit that you see said on that article. Good, classy women will get treated with respect. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think any adult human should have the chance to prove themselves and and like I said, until they prove otherwise. When you give a person a whole year to name 10 benefits of marriage for men and they still can't do it, that should tell you it's a bad idea. Hmm. Yeah, just ask any female, what's the 10 benefits of marriage for men? How do I benefit better by marrying you by instead of you marrying me? And most women will give you reasons that centered around them being a personal benefit to them. Aggressive, toxic women that buck up will get treated like a nigga. My suggestion to women: don't buck up. Stay in your lane. Yeah, but anyway, I wasn't gonna be very long tonight. But like I said, this is awareness for men. If you already have it figured out, then this particular broadcast wasn't for you. But if you just think I'm a cool guy, thanks for sticking around. Maybe I should do another smoke show or something. Yeah, that those right there raise eyebrows, obviously. Need another lawyer to see if she can get herself to settle before the court case in tears, lungs hurt. Okay. All right, just want to make sure that I shouted out everyone in the chat. Okay, if I didn't shout you out, then that means that you are watching in the clouds and you haven't acknowledged your own presence yet. Yeah, smoke show ain't always good to do, man. Just one thing that I did learn about doing a smoke show last night was I understand that the people that listen to this channel are used to a certain type of feel when it comes to this. But my what I will tell those people is sometimes it's fun to experiment. Sometimes it's fun to do little different things with these platforms while we, have the chance. And, I've always expressed my desire to get some equipment going, get some camera going, so we can really show people what we can really do here in these shows. But, I understand that a lot of that is up to me. So if you want to support the cause, there's a Cash App, there's a super chat, super thanks at the end of all of it, and we'll just go from there. But hybrid, what do you think of the show last night? What do you think of the smoke show last night? Because a lot of people, they was, I didn't want to particularly kick ism off, but one thing that I was happy about last night was it went from a very tense uh, argument to a sports discussion. So, just it shows me that there's when we can always find a way to get along on some type of level. And that is what defines us as a people. So anyway, you said the smoke show was entertaining. But you know what, RPM? A lot of people don't like the fact that there are some black men in this space that just want to be entertaining. Is that they have something against that. They want they say that these people say that they want us to come up with some ideas that can further us as black men. But like I said, you got to trim a lot of the fat before you get to the meat. Sir ism is pretty funny. I could do with less of the personal shots, but it was what it was. It became mutual after a while. And like I said, sometimes you gotta let men go. Sometimes you gotta let men talk it out. You gotta let men do their thing. That is, if we don't want these conversations policed, we gotta. The first example must be us. Shoot. Yeah. So yeah, I'm work like I feel like I believe that I have a pretty tough skin when it comes to these things, but I'm always working on other ways to harden my skin even further. So we do deal with the doomsday device whenever it shows up. Superman had doomsday. So, it could come in many different forms for us. So I always gotta be prepared. Yeah, it's good to have it every once in a while. I don't want to do a smoke show every day because or every other or every other broadcast, because then you have people showing up here that you don't see for the other stuff, and then it kind of makes you a bit resentful. Like, I've seen this happen to content creators. They'll do like fuckery shit, and then everybody will show up for the fuckery, but nobody will show up for when the discussions of topics really matter. I would say. I think that's and I'm not making any excuses for O'Shea, because O'Shea, he's been a clown lately. But I do get his point when he says that only everybody only wants to show up for the fuckery, and nobody wants to show up to really hear anything for real. So when someone tries to virtue signal and say, "Hey, you black men should be here trying to save every fucking thing," then I don't understand why, because they must not be watching the same space I'm watching. The reason why I did this broadcast was not to be bombastic. It was not to it was not to poke fun at a certain group of people. I did this for you guys. You guys who tune in every week. You guys that I mean, for those of you who watch all three of my shows, do you understand that you spend 6 to 10 hours of your week with me? And I mean that's great, but it also makes me feel obligated to deliver. So it's a thing that works both ways, and it helps me appreciate it even more. So I will never be ashamed to come up here and say what I have to say. I will never be ashamed of it. And if I somehow made you ashamed, tell me exactly what I said that made you ashamed, and let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. You know, maybe maybe in the next smoke show or something. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should do a smoke show for Memorial Day weekend. I mean, I do enjoy those, but I don't want to contribute to the toxicity. I don't want to contribute to the toxicity. I'm afraid it's something I might get a little bit too used to, like Negan and killing zombies. I ain't afraid to do it. I'm just afraid I might get too used to it. Shoot. Yeah. Plus, I need an excuse to use my. I need an excuse to use my new videos whenever somebody gets out of pocket.
Bullshit. Calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't ever tell me to calm down.
Yeah, stuff like that. I got a couple videos on standby that I haven't used yet on a broadcast. But those are for those times. Shoot, yeah, RPM, hybrid catastrophic impact, X83rd power, and people like Greg and Hurry Up and Buy, and Ray Hama, the Hama Force, Blu-ray, Toya, Rogish, Rogish the Bill Monger, guys like that, you know. Shoot, Mister, he's here a whole lot. It's so hopeful, he showed up a couple of yeah, he's his second time, even though it was like his first time wasn't too far off. It was last week actually. Shoot, Shakanulu, he's here very often. So believe me, I appreciate it. Shoot. But anyway, I think I'm about to put this one to rest, and um, you know, hopefully you guys have a great week. I hope for the same thing for myself. I hope I have a great week too. But I really hope you guys have a great week. Yeah. Damn, the Lakers are 3-1. BGS said that shit was over last night. Like he said it's over with. And maybe it is, or maybe it's gonna have one of those dramatic finishes. That's what I like about, sports, watching sports. I like dramatic finishes. Even if my team loses. I'll be, but see, if it's the finish is that dramatic, it's like my team will lose even, will carry that much more weight with me. But to tell you the truth, I've always been like a Lakers fan. I've always been a Lakers fan. I mean, ever since the Showtime Lakers, ever since Showtime Lakers with Kareem, Magic, Kurt Rambis, James Worthy, Byron Scott, yeah, that group. AC Green, a couple years later, those guys. But anyway, yeah, it's getting to the point where I'm a little tired. I feel like I'm rambling. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. And, especially to the guys that's gonna remember these days when this program gets big as fuck. You guys like we'll see those days soon. So anyway, just let me know what y'all think in the comment section for those of you who are in replay game. And also, I will be taking suggestions for topics. Like, I have topics that I'm going to do, but if y'all have any special requests, let me know. So, anyway, thank you once again, guys. Yeah, like people, yeah, like people like D Scott, listening, Phil Brad, like I said, this stuff is for you guys, you know. So, all right. Anyway, that's it for me. This is Kev. Once again, wishing all of you have a good week. Um, I'll say this though. I put in the community tab. I gave a special shout out to Dennis Sperling, and it wasn't a very friendly one. I just want to let everyone know listening right now that I stand on that shit. I stand on it. I know Dennis Sperling is a bigger content creator than me. This is not clout chasing. I'm really truly tired of black men who think they can just exalt white women and put them as the leaders of black men. And that's horse shit through and through. It really stinks. And I really wish for you stupid ass niggas out there to just fucking stop. I'm losing my patience with this shit. And when I lose my patience, things happen. There's nothing that's gonna bring any harm to anyone. Just some choice words. I'll say that. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's it. That's it. Long live the habitual line steppers and Kev we trust. When you don't give up, you win. And this guy won't be quitting anytime soon. Don't worry. So, peace out.